there is a nice little website for downloading indicators. I can't tell you, but well, yeah, I can. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on indicators, courses, platforms, all kinds of stuff, and it's really ridiculous when I go back and go over it all. But I'd say over 95% of it I've thrown out. But here you have quite a lot of indicators for free download from this site, futures.io. And I'm not recommending that you go and sign up here and start downloading indicators. I think it's a huge waste of time, but I shouldn't say it's a waste of time, because the more you know, really when it comes to trading, the more you learn, the more you realize that it's just an endless sea of, most of it I think is disinformation, but it's a huge amount of misinformation. You have a lot of self-proclaimed experts that really just have no idea what they're talking about. You can go into a black hole with this stuff and you can get lost for years downloading and testing and thinking you're actually making progress, where you're not really making much progress at all. You're basically learning what not to do. But at any rate, if you're an indicator guy or gal, then this is your place. There are tons of free indicators here. So what I'm going to do is just show you how to download one and import it, because you will be importing indicators. You'll be importing updates from me from time to time, and you need to know how to do this. But this is how you do it. You download it wherever that's downloaded to, in my case, the downloads folder. Then you come to the NinjaTrader Control Center. You click on File, Utilities, Import NinjaScript. Oh, I have a custom NinjaScript file on my PC that has programming errors. So this has to be fixed before I can move along. This is great. So I want to show you how to deal with this. All right. I click on OK. What is this? NinjaScript archive file. NinjaScript is based on C#. Well, it is C#, but it has other custom methods and stuff like that. So those C# files are .cs files. Now, all of those files are located in your NinjaTrader 7. See, I'm in My Documents, NinjaTrader 7, bin, custom. This is where all of your DLLs are from all of your software vendors that you've bought indicators from, and then indicator. And these are all of your NinjaTrader indicators that start with the @ symbol. Those are all default indicators that come with Ninja, okay? And then from here down, see these are CS files, C# files. They end with a .cs. These are all the custom indicator files. Okay, so that little error that I just received is telling me that one of these files is corrupted. So how do I deal with that? Well, I open up the editor, and don't let this scare you guys, because it's not, it's no big deal. And once you learn how to do this, it's really very, very simple. You just go to Tools, Edit NinjaScript, and then Edit an Indicator. So just click on an indicator. It will open up this Edit Indicator window and allow you to select whichever indicator you want here. The ones that have the locks on them, those are the NT7, the NinjaTrader 7 default indicators. So I can really click on any one of these and open any of these. So I'm just going to open that one, and you'll see it opens this window right here. Okay, so this is all C# code. These are all the variables for this indicator. And then, well, whatever, you don't need to know all that. So you just click anywhere, and then you can right click and go to compile, or tap the F5 key. You see it says F5. So I can tap the F5 key, and here it's saying NinjaTrader already contains a definition for the double stochastics. Well, what does that mean? I don't know. Well, do I really care about double stochastics? Am I ever going to use that? No. So why don't I just go ahead and delete that thing? Okay. There's double stochastics. Believe I will delete it. Now that is a NinjaTrader 7 indicator that I just deleted. That may not have been the one with the problem. Maybe I have another one named double stochastics. Aha, I do. Okay, well, maybe it's just basically the same thing as the previous NinjaTrader 7 one. So maybe now that I've deleted one, because here it's telling me that the error is just that it already has a definition for it. So maybe I can compile now and everything will be fine. Huh, yeah, okay, cool. So that worked. So if nothing else, what you can do is simply delete the file that you're getting an error for. Delete that, recompile. You hear that little chime? Once you hear that, all of your CS files are fine. Now you can import a new indicator. All right. Again, or as a side note, with these errors, you may get an error that says something like assembly is missing a reference, or there's a reference but a missing assembly. So if you're uninstalling, for instance, the Master Suite Pro or Divergences Pro or the Relative Volume or whatever, and then you reinstall it, but you're trying to import an update or something and you're not actually running the installer, you may get that assembly, there's something wrong with the assembly or there's something wrong with the reference. And all it is that you don't have the reference for the DLL, or you have a reference for the DLL that you no longer have. Okay, so for instance, let's say I had a reference here, and to access these references, all you do is you right-click and go to references. Now, what I'm showing you are the two major errors that you're going to get associated with the CS files. And if you can't import an indicator, it's usually 90% of the time it's because of one of these two errors. Either you have something messed up in an indicator that you've imported, or maybe you edited one of the original indicators and you didn't save it properly, or you messed something up and it's got an error and you need to just delete it, start over. So the second most common error has to do with these references, and you access the references by right-clicking, you go to references, and then you see what references you have here. Okay, if I had the Master Suite Pro on here before, but then I just deleted the DLL, I did not install it properly, I simply deleted it and then started Ninja back up and tried to import a new indicator, it would throw that error. And it would say that I had a reference here with, Trade the Plan, Documents, NinjaTrader 7, bin, custom, it would say TTP Master Suite Pro .dll right here, even though I no longer had that DLL. So you would have to delete that, click on delete, and then OK, and then you could recompile, everything would be fine, and then you could import that next update or go back and run the installer. It'll show you right at the bottom, right here, left column, it'll tell you the name of the file that has the error associated with it. If that error is not a corrupted file, it'll say something about a reference or a missing DLL, or a missing, they call a DLL an assembly, because it's an assembly of files. But if it says assembly missing or a reference is missing, it'll tell you what file it's associated with, but that file may no longer exist. If the file exists, it'll just say that's a corrupted CS file or whatever. It'll tell you the name right here in the bottom left, and then you go and delete that file and then come back and recompile. Otherwise, it'll have something to do with a reference or a missing assembly or something like that, and then you right-click, go to references, and see what your references are here for. All of these references are for the DLLs associated in your, or listed here in your custom folder. Okay, that doesn't mean that you need a reference for every single one of these. Okay, if you're running an installer it kind of gets around this reference process anyhow. But if you're importing it through the file, utilities, import NinjaScript, then it will add a reference here, because typically there's a reference in that zip folder. All right, I'm probably confusing you a little bit, so let's just go ahead and import an indicator then. So here we go to File, Utilities, Import NinjaScript. Now I have no errors, so we're all good. So it opens up. Then I go to Downloads. This is the one I just downloaded, so I'm going to double click on that. And boom, NinjaTrader successfully imported it, and it's in the archive, and that archive is right here under NinjaTrader 7, bin, custom, indicator. These are all of your CS files. What was that one called? ANA Chanda Kroll Stop. All right. So now that we've imported that indicator, well, let's add it to this chart. I'm going to go ahead and change this back to a linear arithmetic chart and then set it to a daily chart. Let's set it to a half-hour chart. And load some more days here. I'll load 100 days. And let's get rid of that session break chart here. So this is the S&P 500 on a 30-minute chart. So the S&P 500 is the actual underlying of the ES. This is the cash market here. And look at that. Oh, it's turned up right there at the end of the session. Cool. So it did come a little bit lower. Looks like I got out just in time today. That looks quite a bit better, doesn't it? This is another thing I wanted to show you. You see how I can select the price bars? See what I did? I right-clicked on the chart. I go to Properties. I should have talked about this in the creating a chart video, but here, allow the selection or drag and drop of the chart series. If that is set to true, then you'll be able to click on the bars. See, we don't want to be able to do that because we're constantly drawing on the charts, drawing in the market geometry and all of that. And typically they're touching the bars. So if you're trying to, readjust a line and you're able to also click on the bars and select the bars, then it's going to be problematic for you. So if you turn that to false, then see, I can no longer select the bars and drag them around. But if it's set to true, then I can do that, you see. And one other thing here, you see how far away from the right margin we are? That's because I have offset right here how far away we are. We're 100 pixels away from the right margin. If I were to set that to 0, watch. See, we are right on the right margin. Well, that's no good. I'll set it to 200. There we go. And then that gives me some room for trying to forecast or anticipate what's about to happen. So typically 100, 120, 150 is plenty. All right. So that's just a couple of other things here. Now, we want to add that indicator. So let's do that. If we want to add an indicator, you can click right here, or just right-click on the chart and select indicators under data series. Here is that indicator from futures.io. So I can double-click on it or click on New here. And these are all the settings, which we call the Properties menu. These are all properties. And there's the indicator. All right. So I can also add another indicator, and that is the scrolls right. Remember I told you that I was going to show you how to add something to the chart to where you could then grab the chart and move it up and down rather than just left to right. To move it up and down, you've got to hold down the control key and go grab the right-hand margin here and move it up and down. But from futures.io, there is an indicator called scrolls right or scrolls light. The one I have is called scrolls right. Now let's try this one. This guy's actually pretty good. So maybe his version's a little bit better. So I'll go ahead and download it right here. Scrolls light, and we'll see what the difference is here. So I'll go ahead and import that one as well. File, utilities, import NinjaScript, and scrolls light. It successfully imported, okay. And now indicators, I'll select one of these indicators in the window here in the list, tap the S key. So we have scrolls right and scrolls light. Well, seamless chart dragging, middle button click, price scale to enable auto scroll. Okay, what about scrolls light? Let's try that one. Looks like this one is just a different version of this. So we'll add the scrolls light and okay. And now, oh, look at that. I can drag this thing around. Isn't that cool? Huh. Just like with TradeStation or whatever. So that's a cool little indicator. If you're, used to being able to drag a chart around like that, then it kind of makes it nice, Let's say I want to get rid of this label up here. Well, I can simply delete the label right there and click OK. Oh, that was for the Chanda stop. I'll delete this one as well, the label for the indicator. And now I have a nice clean chart. But let's say you want to do that for the indicator for the Divergences Pro. You can't do that. Watch, let me show you what I mean. So let's load the RSI. And since I'm going to put the Divergences Pro on it, I'm going to set these to transparent. There we go. And apply. And now I will add the Divergences Pro to it. And here, under the options, 01A, select indicator component, I need to now find that RSI plot. You see, it's given me the plot for everything that's on the chart. Here we have long stop, short stop, dummy. That dummy is just a dummy test plot for the Divergences Pro, but here we have the RSI, and that's plot 0. That's the green plot. So if I select that and then plot Divergences Pro on the same panel, price is panel 1, indicator is panel 2. Plot that on panel 2. So now I'll plot it. But watch what happens if I try to set that name to nothing at all. So I'm going to take RSI and remove its label. And then go back to Div Pro and try to select this RSI plot here. Let's see if it can handle it. It's plotting something, but it's not the RSI. So that's an issue. I don't know what it's doing here, but it's not able to plot the RSI. You have to have a label to name the plot for Divergences Pro to be able to plot it, okay? So you can't completely remove all labels. I know it would be nice if you could just, have a perfectly clean chart with no labels, no writing of any kind, but the Divergences Pro needs that plot to be named. The 4.0 version will not have any of that issue whatsoever. You'll be able to build the indicator directly in it, but for now, that plot needs to have a name, has to have a label. So you could just name it R. You could do that. And then apply, go back to Divergences Pro, find that R. There we are right there, you see? And then apply. And now it's plotting, right? But I could at least delete the Divergences Pro label. And that won't affect anything. And let me just go ahead and set this properly here to RSI. And now it's plotting properly.